there, Walt here from Walt in PA. Thank you for joining me on this little ride through Southeast Pennsylvania. Today I've got something important to tell you, and well, to cut to the chase, this trusty 2018 Honda CB650F that I've been riding proudly for the past year and a half, well, it's going to be going away. And the reason for that is because I put a down payment on a new motorcycle. Now, I have seen enough new motorcycle reveals on YouTube to know that under no circumstance am I to tell you what this new motorcycle is. I have to drag it as long as I have to make it as grueling and miserable as possible and force you to tune in every single week in the mere hopes that I slip up and tell you what it is. But if you're in the Discord server, you already know what it is because I let the cat out of the bag there. There's certain benefits to hanging out in the Discord with the Walt in PA crowd. So what I thought I would do is tell you what the bike is not. And I thought I could do an entire video, well, on what it's not. That'll kind of muddy the waters for you a little bit. So, if you remember several videos back, there was a short list of potential motorcycles that I said I would consider if I were ever to get rid of the 2018 Honda CB650F. And one of the motorcycles on that list was the Triumph Trident. Now, today I'm going to tell you why I did not choose the Triumph Trident to replace my CB650F. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the Trident. The specs on it look fantastic. I mean, when it was released, it came with a swell of fanfare. People thought it was going to run away with the middleweight naked bike trophy, or you know whatever it was. It was going to become the new standard in middleweight nakeds. It was going to take the crown away from the Yamaha MT-07. And I was one of those people. I saw this bike that had lots of tech baked into it already, right off the factory floor. I saw a bike that had long service intervals, 10,000 miles apart. I saw a bike that had a hardy 3-cylinder engine that was supposed to provide plenty of torque, mid-range power, and plenty of top-end performance. And best of all, I saw a bike that had a very impressive price point at what, like $8,999, and it came with all of these not aftermarket, but all of these Triumph branded accessories that you could mod out this bike with, you know, ready to rock and roll. So you could customize it immediately. You didn't have to wait for the aftermarket to catch up with it. There was a lot to love there. And in fact, I was really eager to check it out. My local dealership, Martin Moto, was one of the first places that I saw to get their hands on one. I think they actually got 3 of them. And when they received them, you know, they sent out some sort of notice that, you know, they were just going to be putting these bikes on display. You couldn't buy them yet. You know, they wanted to, I don't know, I guess maybe build excitement about it or something. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to go over and see the bike. And by the time they got other bikes in, the other bikes sold, and then I had to wait for what seemed like the second or third round of Tridents to come into the showroom before I actually got a chance to see one. So one day I finally got over to Martin Moto, made a beeline to the Triumph area, and I took in the sights that was the Triumph Trident. And I was underwhelmed. Not because it was a bad bike. It just, for some reason, I love the way this bike looks in all of the press photos, in the pre-release footage, you know, videos. I'm watching all of the stuff, checking out all these articles, and the bike seems like something I would really want. You know, and some of the things that people were kind of complaining about, you know, they did away with the tail section. They put that almost like a fender mounted license plate holder on it, and You know, there's some grumblings about that. Oh, it didn't look good. I love that. I thought it looked really, I thought it looked much cleaner than the big long tail section that comes on most motorcycles. But anyway, I get over there and I see this thing in person, and I just didn't like it. And it has something to do with the proportions. I walked around that bike 3, 4, 5 times. I wanted to like it so bad, but I don't know. It kind of reminded me almost like of a pug. You know, it looked like someone took a standard-sized middleweight motorcycle and mushed in the nose. You know, suddenly, you know, this bike had become, I don't know, like too squat front to back. And it just seemed, I don't know, I just didn't like the proportions of the length of the bike for some reason. It just gave it a stance that didn't speak to me. And again, I'm not saying that this is a bad motorcycle, you shouldn't buy it. This is a fantastic motorcycle. I wish I liked the way it looked more. But looks were a big reason on why I didn't consider trading in my CB650F for a Triumph Trident. The other big factor was I felt like it was too much of a lateral move. This is like 648 or 649 cc's. The Trident is 660, you know, so it's an extra 10 cc's. It's a 3-cylinder versus a 4-cylinder, so it's a slightly bigger engine that has more torque, should have more power. The bike had plenty of tech, which much more tech than this. I mean, this is pretty simple. I got speedometer and I got an odometer over there, so there was a lot going on. There was a lot in favor of the Trident, but instead of getting a Trident and feeling like I made this big leap in technology and power and just raw motorcycle, I felt like I was making more of a lateral move. And I knew that I would be taking a loss to get one because, you know, trade-in value is obviously going to be less than I paid for this bike. So on top of that, there's the money that I invested into this bike with, you know, service, maintenance, upgrades. So I felt like I wasn't going to be getting enough bike to make it worth the price of purchase, or make it worth the money that I was going to be losing by trading in this motorcycle. And while I would love to have both, I don't have the room. So styling and bang for your buck when accounting for the trade-in value were pretty much the nail in the coffin on the Triumph Trident. You know, if I could do it all over again, or if I was going to do it all over again a year and a half later, where I wanted to get back into motorcycles and the Triumph Trident existed, I think I would have bought the Trident. I mean, again, the looks are a subjective thing, but it's a really impressive motorcycle, and I think I could get used to the looks in exchange for the you know, bang for your buck that you get out of that bike. Now, I've never ridden one, however, I think I'm going to. My local dealership, Martin Moto, I had mentioned it a couple times, they have a Twisted Road account, and they have a Triumph Trident that they have as a rental bike. I think they're charging like $79 a day. So I'm considering renting one for the day, just to produce content. You know, I'll rent the bike, I'll ride it 100, maybe 200 miles, and do do a really lengthy first impression video on the Trident. So there's a really good chance that I will be riding one in the near future, but I will not be owning one. The Triumph Trident is not the bike that will be replacing my 2018 Honda CB650F. And on that note, it is time to get on out of here. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, please support me by clicking on that like button. It gives YouTube a heads up and lets them know that my content is checking the right boxes for the people that are subscribed to my channel. If you're not already subscribed, please do so. I would really appreciate that. And don't forget to leave a comment down in the comment section. As always, ride safe, and I will catch you in the next one.